Ethan stood at the crowded airport terminal, clutching his daughter Lily's small hand as she leaned sleepily against his side. It was past midnight, and the glowing overhead screens kept announcing delays every few minutes. The winter storm had turned the entire airport into a restless sea of tired passengers, frustrated families, and people desperately seeking connections, both flights and emotional. For Ethan, this wasn't just a trip. It was the last thin thread of hope he was holding on to. He had worked 3 part-time jobs ever since his wife passed away 2 years earlier. Every month had been a quiet battle just to keep food on the table. But when Lily fell sick and her doctor suggested a specialist in another city, Ethan didn't hesitate. He booked the cheapest flight he could find, pawned the last valuable thing he owned, his wedding ring, and came here with Lily, wrapped in her favorite purple jacket. But their flight had been overbooked. A mistake in the system, they said. A technical inconvenience, spoken with a half-apologetic smile by the gate agent who had probably forgotten his face the moment he stepped aside. He had spent the next 3 hours begging politely, then pleading softly, then trying not to lose his composure when Lily began to cry. Now, with only 1 seat left on the plane, the gate agent called out, "Passenger Ethan Walker, please come to the counter." Ethan's heart jumped. He lifted Lily into his arms, whispering that it might be good news. But when he reached the counter, the agent spoke carefully, eyes darting from him to the system. "We have only 1 seat remaining. Just 1. She paused. "For you, but not your daughter." The world seemed to tilt. For a moment, Ethan felt like a man staring at the edge of a cliff with no way across. I can't leave my daughter alone," he said quietly. "We have to go together." "I'm truly sorry," the agent replied with the tired sincerity of someone who had said that 1,000 times tonight. "We have to close boarding." Lily's fingers tightened around Ethan's shirt. "Daddy, I don't want to stay here." Ethan knelt, brushing her hair gently. "I know, sweetheart, I know." Behind him, the line shuffled impatiently. People wanted to board. People wanted this problem resolved. But for Ethan, this wasn't a minor travel issue. It was the final blow in a long chain of heartbreaks. Then came the voice, soft, calm, and yet impossible to ignore. "Give him my seat." Ethan turned around. A woman stood there, tall, graceful, somewhere in her early 30s. She wore a long white coat over a navy blue travel dress, a style that was elegant without trying to be. Her hair was dark and neatly tied back, and her expression held a quiet confidence that immediately softened the tension around them. The crowd murmured. Even the gate agent blinked in surprise. "Ma'am," the agent said, "your ticket is first class. This seat is economy." "That's fine," the woman replied. "Give the seat to him and his daughter." "But—" "It's fine," she repeated, smiling gently. "Please." There was something about her voice, warm, steady, reassuring, the kind of voice that made people trust without question. The gate agent hesitated only a moment longer before nodding and switching the boarding pass. Ethan stood frozen, Lily's head resting on his shoulder. I don't know what to say," he finally whispered. "You don't need to say anything," the woman said softly. "Just get your daughter where she needs to go." She turned as if to step back, but Lily lifted her head and said, "Thank you," in her small, sleepy voice. The woman smiled, eyes softening. "You're welcome, little one." As Ethan carried Lily down the jet bridge, he glanced back one last time. The woman stood alone at the gate now, hands folded gently in front of her, as the last passengers boarded. She wasn't taking a picture, checking her phone, or looking around for approval. She just waited quietly, as if offering her seat had been the most natural thing in the world. But the story should have ended there, except fate refused to let it. When the plane touched down hours later, Ethan's phone buzzed with an unknown number. He answered, thinking it might be the clinic. "Mr. Walker?" A gentle voice. "I hope I'm not disturbing you." It was her, the woman from the airport. "I'm sorry," Ethan stuttered. "I didn't catch your name earlier." "Aria," she replied. "Aria Lane." It sounded familiar, but Ethan dismissed it. He wasn't someone who followed luxury brands or global tech companies. "I wanted to make sure you both arrived safely," Aria continued. "Is your daughter all right?" Ethan glanced at Lily, who was sleeping peacefully with her head on his arm. "She's doing better, and thank you. Again, I don't know how we would have—" "You don't need to thank me," Aria said gently. "Some journeys are meant to be shared, even if only for a moment." Before he could reply, she added, "And I hope this doesn't sound strange, but I'd like to help you, if you'll allow me." Ethan's heart tightened. He wasn't used to kindness, not like this. "I can't take anything from you," he said quickly. "You've already done more than enough." "I'm not offering charity," Aria said softly. "I'm offering support. There's a difference." The next day, Ethan understood who she really was. When he walked into the specialist's clinic, reporters were gathered outside. Employees hurried around, preparing for what looked like an important arrival. And then he saw her again, Aria, stepping out of a sleek black car. The staff greeted her with a mixture of respect and awe. Only then did Ethan notice the sign behind the reception desk. Lane, Healthcare Foundation founded by Aria Lane. It hit him all at once. The woman who gave up her seat wasn't just someone kind. She was one of the wealthiest, most influential philanthropists in the country. But when she saw him standing there with Lily, she didn't approach him as someone powerful. She walked toward him simply as a human being. Warm, approachable, sincere. "You didn't mention this," Ethan said quietly. "I didn't think it mattered," Aria replied. "People should help because they want to, not because of who they are." Over the next week, Aria made sure Lily received the best care possible. She visited them every day, bringing books for Lily, meals for Ethan, and sometimes just sitting quietly in the room, offering a presence that felt strangely comforting. There was no arrogance in her, no expectation, no agenda, just kindness, pure and steady. One evening, after Lily had fallen asleep and the hospital lights had dimmed, Ethan found Aria sitting by the window watching the city lights. "You've done more for us than I can ever repay," he said softly. Aria shook her head. "It's not about repayment." "Then why?" he asked, voice breaking slightly. "Why help a stranger like me?" She looked at him, and for the first time, he saw a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. "Because," she whispered, "once, long ago, someone helped me when I had nothing, and I promised myself that if I ever had the power to do the same for someone else, I would." Ethan swallowed hard. There was a depth in her words that made his chest ache. "And maybe," she added with a soft smile, "because you're not a stranger anymore." The days turned into a quiet routine, conversations shared over coffee, watching Lily draw pictures for Aria, gentle laughter that echoed through the sterile hospital room like sunlight breaking through clouds. And without meaning to, without even realizing it, Ethan found himself looking forward to every moment she spent with them, the way she listened, the way she cared, the way she made him feel seen, not as a struggling single dad, not as a man always one step behind life, but simply as a person worthy of connection. On the final day, when Lily was declared stable and ready to leave, Aria walked them to the exit. The chilly evening air brushed against them as automatic doors slid open. "So," Aria said softly, "this is goodbye?" Ethan shook his head. "I don't want it to be." Her breath caught, just barely. "Neither do I," she admitted. Lily tugged Aria's sleeve. "Are you coming with us?" Aria knelt and touched the girl's cheek gently. "If your dad doesn't mind, I'd like to." Ethan met her eyes, and in that silent moment, something passed between them, something fragile, hopeful, unfinished. "No," he said quietly. "I don't mind at all." And as they walked toward the parking lot, the storm clouds that had followed Ethan for years finally felt like they were beginning to break. Aria walked beside them step by step, not as a billionaire, not as a stranger, but as someone who had given up a first-class seat and unknowingly stepped into their lives forever.